As is shocking to exactly 0 people, the OKC Thunder swept the Grizzlies in the first round of the playoffs. They were on their way to losing Game 3 before Ja got hurt, but the final result is all the same. Much of the focus of this series has been on the offensive struggles of SGA. After one round, his playoff averages are 5 points less than his regular season average, while having an over 10% worse field goal percentage, three-point percentage, and true shooting percentage. Many are suggesting that this is a sign that SGA is going to completely collapse in the playoffs when it really matters. If the lowly 8th-seeded Grizzlies can shut down SGA, then any real contender in the West is gonna feast. So, for today's video, I went back and looked at every single SGA offensive possession to determine if this was just simply a slow start or the first sign of an impending choke job. Hello everybody, welcome to Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video, and check us out over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you would like to enjoy this as an audio-only experience. I will do the same thing I did last time because this sucked so much and ruined my night. I recorded this video plus 2 others, an hour and a half of recording down the drain because the fucking camera mic was also on and it doubled up the audio and it was mad annoying. So I would appreciate the like for the perseverance, okay? I'm really trying hard here. I'm sure you people with real jobs don't find that to be impressive, but I'm a little baby YouTuber and I don't like to work more than 5 hours in a row. Still doing it though. Still pushing through. Before I get into this one, I just want to make a quick acknowledgement. I have my SGA biases. I will be honest about that, but I tried my best to put them aside evaluating this footage. I even counted some of the bad fouls in this one, like giving credit to the fact that they were bad fouls against SGA. I recognize that he has become a super contentious player, but I'm trying to throw all the narratives aside here and just try and evaluate the basketball on the floor. Not doing clips in this one. We're just talking about what I watched. Didn't want to do a million clips. Bro shot the ball 100 fucking times throughout this entire thing. But I am going to be going game by game here, and we can get to some conclusive notes. So in game 1, he only played 23 minutes because it was a massive blowout, and in those 23 minutes, he got 15 points, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, shot 4 for 13 from the field, 1 for 7 from outside, 6 for 7 from the line, and finished with a true shooting percentage of 46.6%. Scottie Pippen Jr. is a great matchup against him, and I want to give him his flowers because he was absolutely earning his father's name there, because he is a lockdown defensive player, and I know a lot of people probably just hadn't really heard of him, but if you are in the know, if you have heard the man's name, which I've heard it 1,000 goddamn times because Rudy is a Grizzlies fan and the only NBA players he ever talks about are Grizzlies players, Scottie Pippen Jr. is a good starting guard and one of the best backup point guards in the league when that is his role, especially defensively. He's a very, very good defensive player. Super high volume 3-point shooting so far for SGA. He went 1 for 6 in the half, and he only took 1 more in the second half in 7 minutes. He was really passive in that third quarter, allowing the team to cook in those 7 minutes. He shot 2 for 3 from the field, so he was efficient, but the other guys on the team were kind of going off, so he just let it happen. He mostly got good looks in this game, but they were very rarely uncontested, and I'd only say 2 or 3 of the shots that he got were open looks. Also, he got 2 shooting fouls, neither of which were BS. He also got to the line on on a technical and then I think foul in the bonus that he got to shoot the free throws for. That is something that I think gets left out of this in SGA's free throw total, is he is the one who shoots every technical free throw or every bonus free throw for the Thunder, assuming it's the right kind of foul that he's allowed to shoot it. But anyways, his stat line for game 2 was 38 minutes, 27 points, 8 assists, 2 turnovers, 10 for 29 from the field, 3 for 10 from outside, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, with an overall true shooting percentage of 43.9%. Look what happens when this dumbass free throw merchant doesn't get his free throw attempts. The big thing here, the important thing, and what ultimately matters in terms of the functionality of this Thunder roster is that SGA's gravity was as effective as it ever has been, and it resulted in a lot of great looks, many of which he got assists on, many of which he got hockey assists on, many of which he was never involved in the action, but the defense was so focused focused on him, he kind of created the look anyways. He's also handling the double teams really, really well. Like, he, as much as he struggled with his shot, in terms of the pressure he's experienced defensively, the fact that he hasn't turned the ball over at all is really impressive. Not at all, literally, but like, it's not been an uptick. He only got good separation on one shot in the first quarter. He got a couple of clean looks in the second quarter, taking a lot of pull-up threes. He would also go 3 of 7 from mid-range in the third quarter. Like, he got to his spots comfortably and got a bunch of clean looks. He just missed them. Only one of his misses was actually well contested. He's also almost never getting to the rim. Like, excluding his 2 transition dunks in this game, he shot 3 for 8 on short floater/restricted area shots, so right around the basket. He mostly got good looks from mid-range, but he was rough in the paint, and I don't know why he insists on taking all of these pull-up threes. For game 3, his stat line was 40 minutes, 31 points, 8 assists, 3 turnovers, 10 for 26 shooting, 2 for 7 from 3, 9 for 9 from the line, with a 51.74% true shooting percentage. SGA was getting all the separation in the world in the first quarter from mid-range. He would go 5 for 7 on middies, but again, he was struggling at the rim. He'd go 0 for 2, getting blocked by Edey on one of them. The silver lining is he wasn't taking the pull-up threes. However, they would keep coming, and he got swatted at the rim in the second quarter by Vince Williams Jr. Now 0 for 2 there, and he shot more threes, mostly catch and shoots, and he's now 1 for 6 from the field in that quarter. Jaren also did a great job switching on to SGA. Not many bigs are going to do as well on him as he did. More of his threes have been catch and shoot this game rather than before, but he's also not hitting any of those. Actually, the only 2 threes that he did make in this game were off of the dribble shots. Much more of a struggle to get mid-range separation for him in the fourth quarter early on, and he also just missed a wide open dunk on the break, which is like not anything that the Grizzlies did. That's just unfortunate. He also just kind of stopped shooting the ball in the final couple of minutes. Like, he mostly just deferred to his teammates. Memphis also had some deny ball shit going on, but like nothing that crazy. There were also 2 bullshit fouls in this game, like 4 free throws that SGA should not have gotten. I will give you that one. For game 4, the final game of the series, he has a stat line of 38 minutes, 38 points, 6 assists, 1 turnover, 13 of 24 shooting, 1 of 4 from outside, and 11 for 13 from the line, with a 64% true shooting percentage. Wow! Look at this free throw merchant. Suddenly he has 13 and he has a good game. Well, actually, rather than the free throws, I would think it's literally just reducing the 3-point volume. That was his major improvement to this one, because he just wasn't throwing up like 5 shots per game that just were not gonna fucking go in. He only had 1 outright bad call against him in this one, and there was a 3 that he was fouled on that I think bordered on. I wouldn't have called it, but I get how you could call it, but I wouldn't have. But still, not outright egregious. But if you want to say 5 of those 11 free throws or 5 of those 13 attempts he should not have had, well, I won't argue with there. At the same time, isn't the argument against Shai that he won't get BS foul calls in the playoffs, and that's why he's going to choke? Because he did get some BS foul calls. So I don't know which side, what side of the narrative do you need to land on here that makes you feel comfortable that he's still gonna choke? Like, he had a crazy hot first quarter, especially in this game. 7 for 7 from the field, 16 points, 4 of 4 from mid, and 3 for 3 at the rim, getting a tough finish over Edey after attacking him on the switch a few times. The problem was he mostly wasn't actually getting to the rim whenever he attacked Edey. Like, I think a lot of times guards fall into this trap where they get a big on him, and the big sags off enough and they're big enough that like you really can't get a shot in the paint on them necessarily, so you end up taking a jumper. But the thing is, off of screens, Edey would be in such a drop that Shai could pull over him. But just in terms of individual matchups, like, yeah, he could get some space off of a step back, but Edey's arms and fingertips are so goddamn stretched out that they were able to bother his shot nonetheless. He also got blocked by Edey on a drive in the third and blocked on a drive by J Huff. That's not good, but overall he went 3 for 5 at the rim. He got blocked on both both of his misses. SGA has also been getting a good amount of John Conchar, Santi Aldama, and Vince Williams Jr. minutes, mostly Aldama and Vince, but Conchar has had some moments where he switched on him and did a really good job. He closes this game with the signature Penny Hardaway step back into a mid-range shot, which is just a gorgeous, gorgeous play. That's the series for him. His series averages being 35 minutes per game, 27.75 points, 6.75 assists, 2 turnovers, hitting 37 of his 92 total attempts, which is a 40.2% field goal percentage. He would hit 7 of his 28 three-pointers, which is 25%, and he would hit his standard 91% at the line on 8.25 attempts, with his overall true shooting percentage for the series being 52.1%. If we compare this to his regular season averages, that is 5 less points per game, 0.3 more assists, and negative 0.4, so 0.4 less turnover. So actually an improvement in the assist to turnover ratio department. So as I highlighted, in terms of dealing with doubles, no trouble there. And I think that's more important than him just simply missing some shots. But at the same time, I understand why you look at these other stats and get concerned, because usually reduced scoring output you would look at as, okay, well, that means increased efficiency, but his field goal percentage declined by 11.7%, his three-point percentage by 12.5%, and his true shooting percentage by 11.6%. So what conclusions can be drawn from all of this? Well, Memphis was well equipped to defend SGA. Scottie Pippen Jr. is that guy. Like, he just is that guy. Vince Williams Jr. and Aldama were really good on him. Conchar, pretty respectable. I also just think he simply started the series slow, which I know seems like a cop-out, but he was pretty fine in Game 3, and he was flawless more or less in Game 4. I was actually watching the LeBron Steve Nash podcast, Mind the Game, and LeBron was talking about sometimes it takes 1, 2, maybe even 3 games for you to really mentally check into a series and start playing at your best. And I think that's all the more likely to happen when your opponent is someone who you know is going to present a foregone conclusion. Like, this is essentially a warm-up round. So I understand why he would just not really be in peak form immediately. And that's kind of the point of a round one like this against the worst team, is so that he can dust off some of the issues and figure it out by the end. And he figured it out by the end of this series. So I'm not really that concerned. And a big part of that is because he had little to no issue getting separation in the mid-range. His pull-up three-point tendency was high for my liking. His catch-and-shoot threes were abysmal, however. I think he went like 1 for 10 or some shit. I don't know how many it was. That's how it feels. His three-point shot isn't good. Like, it's not great. I shouldn't say it isn't good, but it's not great. And when you think of the 3 levels of scoring that SGA brings to the table, that's his worst level by far. So the fact that he has no issue getting separation in the mid-range is a very positive sign, because that is his bread and butter, and his bread and butter was not much of a concern. However, his other bread and butter is getting to the rim, and he shot poorly there. 53% at the basket from 0 to 3 feet, down 21% from the regular season. So that's not good. That's a huge dip. Now, a few of them were actually shots that I think he was just expecting a call on, and, you know, points to the people saying the free throw grifting doesn't work in the playoffs, because there were definitely instances in which he did that and did not get the call. I think Memphis's bigs, like, specifically presented the worst of best worlds. That's what I wrote down in the script. The worst of best worlds. The worst of both worlds, where Jaren Jackson, super switchable. Every time he tried to get separation on him, like, sometimes he hit some jumpers over him, but none of them were not super heavily contested. Edey was super vulnerable off of the dribble, but, like, he almost always ended up taking jump shots out of it, like deep three-pointers, pull-ups, like stuff that the defense is rather happy that you would do, because of the 3 levels, they want him taking threes more than they want him taking mid-range shots or getting to the rim. He challenged Zach at the rim a few times, and it only went well like 2 or 3 times tops. Otherwise, the shots he was hitting over him around the rim were floaters. He had no issue getting to the line. His free throw rate only went down by 4.5%, which is not much. Whether it is the Nuggets versus the Clippers going into the next round, SGA is not going to have to deal with the double bigs. I know that Gordon plays pretty big but he's not quite Jaren Jackson Jr., like literally can just be a center if he needs to be. Like it's a small ball center, not just 6'11 center that can't rebound. But nevertheless, the length and the height and the shot blocking between those guys, they're not going to encounter anything like that in the next round. And unless they get the Houston Rockets between the Lakers, Timberwolves, Warriors, and Rockets, I don't think they're going to have to deal with the double big stuff too much. The Timberwolves might do it a little bit, but that's it. And in terms of the one-on-one matchups for Nuggets or Clippers, I think Christian Brown would do fine, and I think Dunn and Derrick Jones Jr. should do a good job, but there are some offensive consequences to playing them. That was the reason why they lost Game 4 to Denver, was because they got killed by their non-spacers not spacing. He should be getting a great test in the Western Conference Finals regardless of who Shai meets there. However, like, I am under no illusion that he's not going to run into some tough defensive matchups, but I think he'll be fine in round 2 for the most part, and I don't think there's a nightmare scenario that's going to present itself in the conference finals. I do have more concerns about how he'll hold up against a Celtics defense or even a Cavaliers defense because of the double bigs that bothered him so much in this one. I don't know. We'll get to that when we get to that. Let's just worry about the short-term future of the playoffs for right now. On the Concernometer, how concerned am I for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Well, I'm going to say a 2.5 out of 10, and I'll lean closer to a 3 than a 2. I'm definitely a little concerned. After the first 2 games, I thought people were overreacting a little bit. And Game 3 was fine, but it was also another game with 50-ish true shooting, so I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I should be concerned. But then he had that great Game 4. I think he's fine, and I think he was mostly coasting. I take solace in how good the mid-range creation is, because if nothing else, he always has that to rely on. Like, I don't know if you remember last year, the series versus the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas did a great job of keeping Shai away from the basket, but in spite of that, he still averaged 30 because he just kept hitting mid-range shots, like cooking from mid-range all fucking game. And I recognize that the mid-range is the least efficient shot possible of the 3 levels. However, having the access to the ability to create space whenever he wants to for that shot is going to level out a floor for his game. And I think he just kind of had some bad shooting a couple of times. He mostly was getting to his spots comfortably in balance. And as long as that keeps happening, at the very least, he's not going to outright suck. I also doubt he's going to shoot this bad at the rim again or from 3. Both were extreme dips, like so extreme that they'd be wild if they happen again. At the rim is a little bit different, but no, I think he'll be fine. If he does suck, if he does choke in the playoffs, I will own it, because as sure as I am about this Thunder team, as sure as I am about SGA, I will never be sure enough to think that anything at all is guaranteed. He could average 3 points per game in round 2, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. I have witnessed a 73 win team blow a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. I will never say that anything in the NBA ever is guaranteed, but I have staked my claim on as far as it goes before you reach that point, believing in them, and I'll happily eat crow if he gets burned, but I don't know. This just hasn't been enough to concern me. Enough to think about it, enough to make a video talking about it, but not enough to actually be worried.